and close your eyes. The form of meditation we are doing today was first taught thousands of years ago by the Buddha. It is called Anapanasati or breath meditation. Ana means in breath, Apana means out breath, and Sati means to be with. So today, we'll stay present with the in breath and the out breath. Let's breathe gently, evenly, and steadily. In and out through the nose. No force, just easy, normal breathing. Inhale, exhale. We are not with our thoughts, we are only with our breath. Remember, we cannot be with both at the same time. Just staying with our breath. Our intention today is to remain aware of the breath. For each time we remain for the full length of the meditation, and each time we successfully remember to come back to the breath, we establish a new pathway in the mind. And when we see ourselves being successful, even if for a brief moment, a single return to breath awareness, we further ingrain this new pathway. And the body and mind learn that we indeed can focus, be still, and stay present. your breath. Inhale and exhale. So when thoughts arise, and they will, we turn from chasing these thoughts and we return to our breath instead. And we do this again and again and again, as many times as we need to. No focus, no concentration, no chanting. Simply observing your breath. By remaining with breath, away from the thoughts, we enter a new state of mind. The mind becomes empty of thoughts and tunes into the immense cosmic energy. This is the source of all energy. This energy is the medicine which will heal your body and mind. By remaining with breath, we learn to move past the conscious, analytical mind into the subconscious mind, where the heart feels at home, grateful, and free. With each breath, you relax even more. Shift your awareness from the world around you to the world inside you. Let the awareness of your breath help guide the mind inward to the infinite energy within. In this one moment, nothing else exists but your breath. Remain present with your breath. Easy, natural, relaxed, quiet breath. Each time you find your thoughts have once again taken you away from the breath, gently come back, move inward again. No force. Let the breath guide you in. Follow your breath. As you inhale, it takes you to this inner space of energy. And with every breath out, that infinite space inside connects with the world around you again. With each breath, you completely let go and relax. There is nothing to do right now, nowhere to be, other than right here, right now. Observing the breath. Move from cognition and analysis towards intuition, a more open awareness. Still aware of your breath. Notice how your breath feels as it moves in and out through your nose. How does breath feel as it moves down through your throat, into your lungs, and deep into your belly? Your mind might settle on a particular detail or an overall general awareness of breath. Let it expand. For example, notice the overall movement of breath through the body, the rise and fall of the shoulders, the chest, belly. Stay present with the sensation of breath, allowing the breath itself to be your anchor to this present moment. And if you notice the mind has wandered, simply return to the breath. Natural, easy, steady breath. Completely drop your identity, your personality, self, your ego. Whether you're male or female, whatever title you hold, just simply dropping and connect instead to the magic of breath, becoming pure consciousness. Become the energy of the breath itself. Observe what the breath has to teach you. No longer self-conscious about where you are, what you're doing. Letting go of all expectations. Let go of doing and let yourself simply be in this moment. Withdraw your attention from people, places, time, and events. Just remain present with in-breath and out-breath. Let yourself relax back into this generous, abundant, infinite present moment. Each time you find yourself returning to the known, predictable people, places, and things around you, including the self, let yourself drop back to the unknown. Let yourself drop back into the infinite energy within. By becoming one again with each breath in and each breath out. The breath will guide you inward, away from the world around you, and into a new world within. You are not your job title, your identity, your thoughts, or your emotions. You are this infinite energy within, with infinite possibilities. You are the depth and infinite spacious within. So let yourself go deeper towards this inner wisdom. And let your breath guide you in. Let not a single breath go by without noticing it, without observing. It's time to become nobody. Becoming one with the energy of your breath. Let go of the narrator, the part of your mind saying, now I'm breathing in, now I'm breathing out. Be the breath itself, not the entity observing it. Become awareness itself. Become the infinite field of potential. Invest all your energy in the unknown. Linger here, exploring the breath. Remaining free of expectations, free from judgment. Allow yourself to surrender into the depths of the unknown. Fully immersed in the experience of breath. Drop into this experience here in the present moment. The experience of breathing in and breathing out. When you allow yourself to become nothing, to become one with this infinite moment, you open up to infinite potential. You become everything. And then, wherever the mind is now, I invite you to come back to this present moment awareness with your next breath. Last 1 minute. Last 30 seconds. With your next breath, I invite you to slowly bring your hands together and place them on your eyes for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly remove your hands and gently open your eyes. And bring your awareness back to the space around you, back to your body. Namaste. Thank you for this meditation and welcome to the new you.
Welcome everyone. Good morning and good evening to whatever part you're in right now. It's simply beautiful to be here amongst you all and being able to take this session. Take this moment to simply be, let those energies sink in. And I would request all to kindly open your camera because the topic that we are covering today is quite interactive. I would want to look at everyone and speak today. So it'll be really, really nice if you open your cameras now. A big hi to everyone. Today, the topic that we are covering is healthy boundaries. Something that sometimes we take for granted, something that we sometimes do not even understand to the extent it is spread within our systems and how important it is. So without further ado, let me dive into the topic directly. So starting with what are boundaries? and I hope I am clearly audible to all, that my voice is loud and clear and everybody can understand what I'm saying. So, yeah, what are boundaries? Boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify for themselves what are reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for others to behave around them, and how to respond when someone steps out of those limits. Okay. And the more precise that you are in creating that boundary, more likely your boundaries will be respected. And sometimes you might have to repeat yourself over and over again and never apologize for it if you have to do that. It is simply okay. It is absolutely necessary to let the other person know you cannot step from this place to the other. This is my line. You stand there, I stand here. There's a healthy respect here, and none of us are allowed to cross this one line. In India, you would understand something called as Lakshman Rekha. That is that invisible or visible line that you draw around yourself that you can absolutely not cross. So the easiest way to think about a boundary is a property line. Okay, we all have seen that no trespassing sign around any property, which is very clearly visible, and you know that if you cross it, there would be consequences. Now, this type of boundary is very easy to picture, and understand, because you see that sign, and you see that and you see that border that protects it. But personal boundaries, however, this is a physical boundary that you can see. Personal boundary, however, can be little tricky or hard to define, because this is something that you cannot see. This is something you can only feel, energetically around you. And it can change over time depending, how unique it is to an individual or person to person. It can change. A physical boundary is very rigid or stiff, something like, a property line boundary. But the personal boundaries we have in our day-to-day life are, they can change. They can just be modified as per our need, as per the individual that is in front of us, or the relationship that we're sharing with the other person. Now, when you define these personal boundaries, when you start defining them, they actually become those, those personal boundaries of that no trespassing sign. And it is where you're defining where others end and you begin. There is a very beautiful saying in philosophy, where my nose begins, your nose ends. That is, there's this line you cannot absolutely cross, and I absolutely love that line. And with this, I want to say why it is important to respect that boundary. Because if a dog, a very sentient being, of course, if a dog knows or recognizes and respects a boundary, or a certain parameter, that I cannot go out of this perimeter, I am sure that as intelligent, as a very intelligent and very receptive beings on earth, we can know that there is a line that we absolutely cannot cross. So, to sum it up, the introduction of these boundaries are basically invisible lines that are determined by the amount of physical and emotional space that we allow between ourselves and the other people. And they can help us to understand and decide what types of communication, behavior, and interaction are acceptable to us. Now, why it is important to set boundaries? Healthy boundaries are the limits that we place around our time, our body, and mental health to stay resilient, solid, and content with who we are. It is so important to set those boundaries to be able to be all of this who we want to be. And these empowering borders protect us from being used, drained, or manipulated by others. And we set boundaries to what areas? That is to practice self-care and self-respect, to communicate our need in a relationship, to make time and space for positive interactions, to set limits in any relationship in a way that is healthy. And the boundaries can be set with family, friends, romantic relationship, that is your partner, your spouse, whoever it is, co-workers and strangers. We can absolutely set these boundaries with anyone. Family include and not limited to your parents, your siblings, your very immediate family members, even your best friend, your husband, your lover, your wife, whoever it is, your children, anyone. Very important to create boundaries. And now diving to the most interesting bit of it, which is little maybe technical or mechanical, but very important for the topic that we are covering today. That is 7 type of absolute boundaries everyone should know about and respect for oneself and for other people. Now, before I start reading or start reading into the whole process of how these boundaries are set or how to get into that zone of creating this boundary, let me just help you understand why are we introducing this topic on the first place. In our life, we meet thousands of people, starting from our parents, of our family members who we begin to grow with, then going to school, meeting our teachers, meeting a student, meeting the other students, and so forth and so on. What happens is, we do not, when we are born, we do not know what kind of environment we are going to get. As a child, we are very free. We are just free, we are liberated, we are laughing, we are giggling, we are playing, everything is super awesome. Okay. The moment we start growing, wherein we start to kind of intercept or understand the environment that is around us, things begin to change. Sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of respect for the other people, we forget, even as children, we forget to set those boundaries. And trust me, even as a child, we know that something that was done right now was wrong if a boundary was crossed. Okay. I'm sharing this from experience. So today, again, I would want to remind everyone, whatever we are sharing here, whatever we are trying to share with you or enable you with, is basically a personal experience. We're not here to teach anyone. We're here to learn as well. And with that, growing in the years, I know that the amount of boundaries I let cross for myself as a student, as a sibling, as a child, and which led to a lot of resentment as I grew up, a lot of bubbled up emotion within my heart, which I was not able to process for the longest time. And what it led to frustration. It led to unrequited kind of anger within, which was not expressed, and then it led to so many problems going further. I became like a wall. I was very outgoing. I was very friendly, very happy, smiling all the time. But people were not able to gouge in, like, they couldn't see who I am. There was this window or a wall that I had created, which was so shut tight that nobody could enter that space. And I realized what led to where I was that time by not creating those boundaries. So now how to be not that person is what I'm going to share right now, which is the 7 absolute boundaries we should follow and we must actually practice. Foremost, the first one, very basic physical boundary. And this is one of the most important boundaries that we're going to be talking today. Physical boundaries include the need for personal space. And I will repeat this. Physical boundaries include the need for personal space. Be it anyone, you must always respect that for yourself and for the other people. Only what you can respect for yourself can you extend it to anyone else outside of you, or someone you call, okay, this is me, that is you. Correct? So what does this boundary actually define for us? It defines the comfort with touch and your need for your need for rest, your need for eating food, your need for drinking water. You're actually telling the other person, okay, you can treat me this way. Like for some people, with some people, you're comfortable giving the tightest of hugs. You're comfortable, giving them a peck on the cheek. But for some other people, you would just want to shake hands or maybe not even touch them. So this is something that you have to be very clear about so that neither you nor other person actually violate, that physical boundary for yourself. Personal space is very, very important aspect. When you understand the concept of personal space, not only you start respecting your own self, what you need at that point in time, you are also allowing the other person to understand that it is absolutely okay if so and so does not want to talk to me. Like, for example, if Radhika does not want to talk to a particular person, then Radhika is like, okay, I want my personal space. Very respectfully, I'm going to, state that boundary with someone that, okay, I am not going to be talking to you right now. I need some space for myself. And the other person being kind enough, compassionate enough, will say, okay, I understand this is a boundary that I should not be trespassing, and I will give you that space. So this was just a basic example how to be and how to do. Second, emotional boundary. Now, these 7 boundaries that we're talking today are like a talisman. Maybe chart it out for yourself and just know that neither you nor other person can trespass this or violate it. It is something absolutely important to live a healthy mindset, live in a healthy body, and live in a healthy environment around you. What is an emotional boundary? Emotional boundaries refer to a person's feeling. Healthy emotional boundaries include limitation on what to share and what not to share, when not to share. Any kind of personal information that is going out, is it necessary to give it out? So, emotional boundaries is not just about your emotions being respected. It is also about you respecting your emotions yourself. You can't be a blabber chatter in front of everyone. Always remember, you can be a open book to certain people, and you must be a log for some certain people. Always understand energetically to what you can express and what you cannot express in a group of people. When to speak, what not to speak, to actually protect your own emotional aura, to protect your own emotional boundaries, not for other people but for yourself. A very small example of it can be, let's just say you started dating someone. Okay, you're seeing someone. You cannot on the first day share everything about your life. You cannot. Not only you're becoming very, very vulnerable in front of someone who's actually a stranger to you, but you're also telling the other person, okay, I have like this whole book here. I can use it as I want to. Even if that person is not like that, you are actually signaling that. So you should always remember how to gradually share the information which is required for that particular relation at that point in time. And that right now I was talking about romantic relationship, but this actually applies to any kind of relationship, even your co-workers, your professional relationship. It's very important to remember that. And when emotional boundaries are violated, how it feels like that your emotions are belittled, that you are not respected enough, that somebody is just kind of scruffing you in the side. Okay, she just keeps crying or he just keeps crying. This is just very usual. Not giving you the space to actually express yourself emotionally, that is a boundary violation. Neither you should do that for anyone else or let that happen to yourself. Absolutely create that line. Okay, you cannot treat me like this because I do not treat you like this. It's as simple as that. Third, time boundary. Now, time and space is something which is the most, I would say, conflicted term on the earth level that we are. And I would not want to go on to the advanced level of it. We'll definitely have some advanced classes on the how time and space does not exist, basically, and how it is not linear. But in the physical form that we are experiencing, this human form, as Radhika, as Pari, as Nandini, as Marisol, as Nalini, as anyone and whoever is present here, all you beautiful people, we are experiencing time on this earth timeline by aging, by whatever, right? Now we have to understand time is something on the earth level in this human form that we must absolutely respect for ourselves foremost, to be able to extend it to anyone else. Beginning with respecting someone's time. For example, somebody told you you have to be here by 5 a.m. Or 5 p.m., let's just say. You are reaching at 5:30 p.m. you are actually violating somebody else's, else's time, somebody's boundary. You trespassed it. And it is very important to respect somebody else's time, because maybe in that 30 minutes someone could have done, and they have, you know concluded that whole meeting and done the work that they were to do after that particular meeting. And time boundary just does not only limit to this. It also means that, you know we are violating someone's time if we are needing too much of their time, whether you are a partner or friend or something. You cannot demand someone's overtime, and neither can you do that for anyone else. Respecting your own time and someone else's time is absolutely important. What does it do? When you respect time, you know how to organize your day. You know what you need to do at what time. This also makes you very energetic, very mentally relaxed. You are very organized the whole day, in fact the whole year. And even if you're not planning things ahead of your time, you know that you have so much space to actually, if there is something suddenly happening, you can kind of ball into your time, because you have organized it so amazingly. That is also a boundary creating for your own self, that time boundary. And as simple or not important it sounds like, time is of essence. So this boundary is very, very important. Fourth, and my one of my absolute favorites that I love to talk about, sexual boundary. Now understand, when I go to this boundary, this is basically going beyond time space continuum, beyond this universe. Sexual boundary is also a very important energetic boundary. Okay. It is protecting the right of consent to ask for what someone else likes sexually, what is acceptable, what is permissible, to be honest about your own sexual history, and be in your all right, demand the same from your partner for that matter. And sexual boundaries also define what kind of sexual touch, intimacy, how often, when, why not, everything comes into that. Whether you are married, not married, you are, in just a casual relationship, always respect and create a sexual boundary. And this also interrelates with, your physical boundaries, that there are certain kinds of touch that are allowed, certain kinds of touch that are not allowed. When I talk about sexual boundaries, I always make it a point to talk about couples in this, like married couples for that matter, how our society operates. That is, being married to someone, having a partner officially, does not give you the right to utilize their body as and how you want to. Whether you are a woman or a man, kindly respect the boundary of the other person. Being married does not mean consent at all times. It is not only a beautiful gesture, but very respectful towards the other person by asking them, is it a good time to, just be a little cuddly, be intimate that way? Obviously, you can have your own ways. You have your own love language. It's just an example that I'm giving. But it is highly, highly respectful and the most loving gesture in the whole wide world to be asking permission from your partner. Again, this is not gender biased. Whether a woman or a man, you have to be very vocal about asking questions, talking about it. It's very important to talk about it. Okay, what works for you, what does not work for you, what works for us, what does not work for us. This not only create healthy environment in your relationship, it also helps you to, when you have children, you can impart them the same. Sexual boundary also includes sexual education towards your children or the other people around you. As and when you feel someone lacks that education, always make it a point to educate them, so as to negate or reduce the amount of crimes against this particular topic. Because this is something of a taboo. Oh my god, I cannot talk about sex. Oh, how did she even use the word sex? It's like some sin that has happened. Okay, I'm sure that a lot of people here might not be able to relate to this, but in India, it's a very common thing. In a lot of countries, it's taken as, oh my God, you're maybe abusing someone. How can you say that word? So boundaries around this particular terminology includes not only limited to, but all of this. And there is more to it, of course. So this was about the sexual boundaries, intellectual boundaries. Another important truth bomb coming to you. Intellectual boundaries, your intellect, which refers to thoughts, ideas, and or how your belief system works around certain things. A healthy intellectual boundary includes respect for others' ideas and an awareness of appropriate discussion around some topic. In fact, as of knowing if you're allowed to discuss about certain things at that point in time, which is again including but not limited to politics or worldviews or or any other topic for that matter. Anything which relates to your thought process or your belief system. And any intellectual boundary is violated when someone dismisses or belittles another person's thoughts or ideas. Now, we need to understand we can all have different points of view, belief system, or thought patterns. However, we must always come from a place of respect and no judgment for the other person. Now, in terms of a government, I might be standing with one person, you might be with some other person. However, that does not allow or give us the space to belittle each other, which happens a lot these days. I have a belief system, you have a belief system, and I'm sure we are very, very intelligent beings to have a human conversation around it and not start abusing each other about it, right? And here, I also want to extend this, any boundaries that we've talked about. It doesn't matter what the other person is doing. We always have to come from a place of respecting that boundary so that we can hold our ground and tell them when they're not being reasonable. We can tell them, dude, it is not happening. Either you respect my boundary or just get lost from my life. And that is what and how important any boundary is, any boundary for that matter. So this was about intellectual boundary. Sixth, material boundary. So second last, material boundary, again, very important. Material boundaries are basically which involves money, property, possessions, and it actually relates to when creating healthy boundary around all of this, the material things, the possession, the money, or anything else, is setting kind of, setting or limiting what and how much you can share with the other person. It does not mean you're being greedy. If something belongs to you, you can absolutely decide if or if you do not want to share it with someone, how you want to share it with someone, how things can happen. But again, with this whole thing, there are a lot of clauses and pauses within this point. What I'm really trying to say here is always come from a place of respect, compassion, kindness, love. Always have your heart open when you are creating material boundaries. Which does not mean that you will create a boundary from a place of, being very giving or something like that. There is nothing like overgiving. If you're overgiving, means there is some lack of emotion within yourself. So there is always a balance that we need to create. So in a material boundary, you have to create a balance so that you're not only respecting yourself, but the other person who's in front of you. And sometimes no means no in terms of every boundary that is, and no is a complete sentence in itself. Always remember that. There is no more or no less or no more needed above and beyond no. I said no. You know what conversation is happening. I said no means no. End of story, period. It's just that. Last but not the least, and the most important, okay, this is like the crowning one. I'm giving the crown of the day to this thing, which is spiritual and energetic boundaries. It takes the win prize. And why, you'll just know. So spiritual and energetic boundary means upholding unseen boundaries, unseen line. Everything else you can quantify. This is something you cannot quantify or qualify, or qualitatively you can speak about it. You can't. So it's upholding those unseen, invisible boundary or lines, which is as important as upholding your physical boundary. As important. And it is regardless of whether you're spiritual or not, you must protect this boundary. Why? We are all energetically connected, all of us. We're all energetically connected. And this is not something you have to believe. It is. It is a universal fact. We are all energetically connected. You believe it or not, it is your problem, not mine. It's as simple as that. We are connected. Okay. And because we are connected, that means our energy mingles with those we are surrounded with. So, right now, all of these people, all of us are connected with one another. It's a group consciousness. We are all connected right now, and there is a huge amount of energy exchange happening between all of us. Whether you've switched on your cameras or you've not switched on your cameras, you're listening to me, you're hearing me right now. We are changing that energy, and a lot. And this is the healthy energy exchange that we are having right now. Okay. But because we are also mingling right now let's extend this thing to some other situation. When you're working professionally, you're in that arena where you're actually energetically sharing yourself with other people, which is always happening at all times. It is very important to create a boundary around our auric field, around our spiritual belief system, around who we are, what we believe in. Nobody absolutely has the right to tell me, Radhika, you meditate and you're such a stupid person. This is like some 60-year-old people can do. Okay, you think that. I want to meditate right now. What is your problem? And sometimes you have to be this firm around people, because people have this tendency of being very casual about things sometimes. They might not intend harm. They might not intend, to belittle you, but they would say something very casually and you'll be like, oh my God, did they just say this? How are you allowing it? Because sometimes you've taken it casually. You forgot to tell them, okay, bro, done. This is space. This is boundary. Sorry, you cannot you cannot just trespass this, or you walk all over me like I'm some cake. Not happening. So this is something we should absolutely remember. Our spiritual and energetic boundaries are like body and aura systems to keep the body and energy field clear and healthy of all negativity, of anything that does not resonate with us. It is, again, regardless of we are meditating or not meditating. This is something that is, we do not realize this is something that we must, and we are actually working on right now, being together in this conscious group. Now, these boundaries, the spiritual and energetic boundary, keep unwanted energies, emotions, and pain of other people from entering our own system. Which is by saying we are allowing only which resonate with us, negating everything which does not. And this comes to a close for our session today, for what I wanted to share. And I want to conclude by saying, you might or might not resonate with the points that we discussed today, the amount of sharing that we did. But no, one day or other, you would want to create all those boundaries, because those 7 boundaries are something, a rule to live by in our day-to-day life. And a healthy boundary can only help you decide and help you maintain everything that you want to achieve and have in your life. If you do not have those boundaries, people will keep walking over you and you will not be able to be your authentic self, be able to who you are, be able to, I created a boundary, and that is why I'm sitting here speaking about all of this. Pari created certain boundaries. Nandini created boundaries. Marisol is creating boundaries every day. Every day, this girl tells me, okay, I did something today. And I'm like in awe of this woman. Yesterday, she was telling me something. I created this boundary. Like, she would not say I've created this boundary, but she said, okay, it was a win for me. I did this today. And I know all of these people. Navneet here, Jyoti, every day she's creating boundary. Tejal is creating boundaries. We are all creating boundaries. And that is the first step into stepping into your authenticity, stepping into your spiritual self. And again, I won't want to say this. We are not experiencing spirituality. We are spiritual beings experiencing this human form. So it becomes all the more our responsibility to create this boundary for us so that we're able to live a very healthy life with a great mindset. Boundaries actually give us a whole space for creating a healthy mindset that helps us to lead an authentic, pain free, and a very balanced life where we know how we can, uh, sort of wind our ways through problems. So we become more solution oriented rather than problem oriented. When we create boundaries, we stop living from victim mentality and we start living from from authentic mentality. We start living from a hero mentality, that I am the heroine, I am the hero of my life, I am the superwoman, I am the superman here, and I can do absolutely what I want to. And with this, I would want to conclude the session today and open the forum for question and answers. But before that, I would want to invite Pari, and I would ask her to share or add to anything if I have missed out today.
Okay. Wow. Wonderful class as usual on boundaries. Hang on, guys. Let me just get this table up. Today I was just enjoying being the participant here and listening. It's always nice to be a student. Uh, yes, boundaries are very important, and some might wonder, why are we discussing boundaries in a meditation course? Because if we do not have boundaries, if we do not have standards, we create a lot of energy drains, energy leaks. Think about your energy as your money. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, you look at and see, where am I subscribing? Where is my money going? I have to close all my subscriptions. In the same way, treat your energy as your money. You would not invest your money where it is not needed. You will check on it. In the same way, you check your energy. Where are you investing where it is not needed? Close all those subscriptions that you're subscribing where it is not needed. And so if you do not close it, if you do not identify, you do not close them, you create energy drains. So you have a bucket full of energy leaks. You're pouring and pouring and pouring. You're meditating, you're affirming, you're visualizing, you're positive, you're kind, you're helping other people, you're thinking only good. But you haven't closed your energy leaks. The bucket is, the water is draining. You're pouring, the water is draining. And then you'll be like, I'm doing this meditation, it's just not working for me. I don't know. Not 21 day, not 40 day, nothing works for me. I have to go back to my alcohol, I have to go back to my drugs, I have to go back to my Netflix binge watching. Because it doesn't work. So I might as well just eat cake and so today we are here to tell you that close your energy leaks. Unsubscribe. Write down where are those subscriptions that you're subscribing. Now think about your emotional intelligence class, what we talked about. So if you don't set standards, if you don't tell people how to treat you, if you do not create boundaries, it is again self-love. If you don't create boundary for you, nobody is gonna give it for you. You are in power. You have to do it. It may, even if it hurts others, it's okay. Because if you value yourself, if you value your time, your energy, then you will do it. If you just want to please others and it's You may be pleasing others right now, but at the end, you're draining yourself. When you're in a drained situation, you're of no use to anybody, not to yourself, not to your family, not to the community. So think about it. What are you? Be real, be authentic, be honest to yourself. Stop playing games. Stop lying to yourself. I know I'm being really out there and telling, yeah, stop lying yourself. It doesn't serve any purpose to anyone. It is all about being real. When you're real, you're happy. This is a quote from in the last enlightenment session we had. We talked about this, not enlightenment session, face to face. It is in Telugu. If anybody knows Telugu, you can watch that. If you're real, you're happy. How can you be real? By unsubscribing to all those relationships. Hi, how are you? I just don't like this person. Why am I spending time here? Just don't. Who asked you to spend? Just don't. Value yourself. Value your time. You are a creator. And all the boundaries today Radhika talked about. It is important. Nobody is great. Even the thing about sexual boundaries, very important to talk in spirituality, because this is a big thing. If we consider somebody is a great teacher, and if the sexual boundaries are compromised, we become victim and blame the spirituality. It is not the spirituality that's the problem. It is you not setting the boundaries is the problem. You thinking that somebody is greater or lesser than you is the problem. Everybody is equal. Everybody has everybody share the same space. We must respect everybody the same way, whether it is president, whether it is well, this might not be the right time to take the names of Dalai Lama or Pope, whoever it is. It doesn't really matter. You must know your worth. You must know where to speak. You must know where to not speak. You must know where to spend time, where not to spend time. This is called middle path. Buddha's path. This is the principle of PSSM. Speak only that is necessary. Don't speak too much if it is not required. Why speak? Just because you have to, what do you have to show? That you are the most popular? We enter a room. I was like that. I would enter a gathering, a group or a party, and I would be like, okay, everybody are sitting in groups and talking. Which group should I enter? Because I'm just terrified standing alone in a party, because everybody thinks I don't have friends. I am terrified to stand alone in a party. But when you start valuing yourself, start knowing you're worthy, you stand alone, tall, chin up, authentically, and the group will come. You where you stand, the group comes to you. You don't have to worry about anything. That's the power of setting standards, of knowing boundaries. This also talks about non-interference. Non-interference. We don't interfere in anybody's life, not your wife's, not your husband's, not your children's, not your parents, not your employees, not your employees. If your employee has a deadline and goes out to eat, it's none of your business where the employee eats or not, as long as the work is being delivered. No interference. My father, when I told him I have a boyfriend, he's like, very good. And the next day I went and told him I'm breaking up with him. He's like, very good, give claps. He was sitting with 10 people. Literally, this happened. In Hyderabad, he was sitting with 10 people, teaching meditation. And I told him I broke up with this guy. Okay, chalo, claps for my daughter. She broke up. And then I'm like, okay, very good. He did not ask any question because he trusted that I will make the right decision, because he knows I am a creator. Even after engaged, I broke up again. That I'm getting engaged with this guy, great. I'm breaking up the engagement, which normally is a big scene in a family. But again, I received claps. This is my story, guys. So I'm on my own again. Okay. My father, at least if somebody shouts at you or says anything, you're like, okay, I have somebody to blame. But I have nobody to blame. I'm on my own. I'm responsible for my own realities. So non-interference is the highest path. We don't interfere in anybody's life. When you don't interfere, you give that respect to the other person, that they are the creators, they have the power, they have the responsibility, and no attachments. You create energy leaks where there are attachments. You are my husband, you should do this. How can you forget anniversary? Oh my goodness. How can you forget the anniversary? That's an expectation that the other person should remember. Even if it's a partner, no expectations. This is a practice. Practicing non-interference, practicing non-attachment. You become a Buddha. This is the path of enlightenment. You become a Buddha. You are happy. There is no suffering anymore in your life. No suffering, end of suffering. Because now you are a Buddha. You are there 100%. My father left his body. There is no suffering. There is no tragedy. Because there is no attachment to the physical body. When we have attachment to physical body, there is suffering. There is tragedy in this world. Again, Nandini, I forgot the Richard Bach's quote. We have to put that in the slideshow somewhere. The mark of your ignorance is that the belief in tragedy is the mark of your ignorance, by Richard Bach. Wonderful guy. You must read his books. There is no injustice. There is no around. So thank you, Radhika, for this amazing session that we have.
Thank you, Dee.
And Radhika is always teaching me how to set boundaries. She teaches me every day how to set boundaries, how to set standards. Because we all forget at some point. We all, there is somebody in our life that we just can't stand up. It may be a father, it may be a husband, somebody that we have given our power away and we just can't talk about it. But we have to stand in our power authentically, with compassion, not in a rebellious way. Who are you to tell me? No, 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 no. No, that is wrong. Compassion. Compassion. Without this is a lesson for teenagers. Yes, you can be bold, you can be clear, but you don't have to be rude. We respect everybody. There's compassion in our hearts. So wonderful topic. Anybody would like to share on this topic? We would love to hear.
Pratiksha.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for this topic, Radhika and Pari. Great ads. Like you're so on point, so direct, very logical. How all these things connect in your day-to-day life. So this session was beautiful, wonderful. I have learned about boundary like as a word in last 5 years. Didn't know about that in India, and thank you for all those description. I never knew like there were these different uh, types of boundaries, and you really need to respect and uphold yourself, because a lot of times people think boundaries is like telling others what not to do, but you really have to uphold yourself to that standard. Then only people are going to respect that boundary. And I'll
Correct.
share my experience coming from, and I'm nothing against India, but it's just like a lot of times being part of that culture, people think crossing the boundaries care. And when you try to set that boundary, uh, you kind of get these like, they make you feel guilty, ashamed. Uh, they think you're selfish, or you just care for yourself. It took me time to set boundaries with few people, but I still struggle with like some of the close loved ones and cared ones, because you don't want to be disrespectful, especially with elderly people, someone who you really have close ties with, you have that dependency with them. And since these boundaries are invisible and not everyone is at the same emotional and intellectual level as you, my biggest challenge has still been like knowing that I need to set up a boundary, but not being able to do that is just because not hurting someone, or it's just like you try harder and the life gets to you, and then you're like, okay, you know what? I'm trying to set this boundary, but I love this person and I need their help as well. And you kind of lose track of those boundaries. So I don't know where I'm probably going with my question, but it's just like sometimes I still struggle to set those boundaries with very close ones. And I would like to know, like, from your experiences as well, like how to do that uh, in a good way. Because with meditation, I started learning, like, okay, I need to be at 9 o'clock. And then people will be there. My mom is from India here. So everyone wants your time. So at 8:30, my iPhone alarm sets on. And now everyone knows, like, okay, in half an hour, she's going to go for meditation. So I feel like sometimes I try to slyly put my boundaries there and don't feel that courage, but I still feel like it's so hard to set boundaries um, with loved ones, and especially having that Indian culture where the care is kind of mistaken, and kind of allow them to take your boundaries away. So just wanted to know from you, what are your experiences and how would you like go about setting those boundaries?
That was a very interesting question, Pratiksha, because I think all of us in India, not in India, who are Indians would relate to what you just said. That sometimes boundaries are crossed in the garb of care, which people think it's care, but it's really not in certain aspects. Before I say anything, Pariti, would you want to start with this, and then I'll add later, or should I go about this?
Yeah, go about it.
Okay. So I think what you just said made a lot of sense. And I think not just in this culture, I think a lot of people have or might have seen this or faced this basis where they are or what culture they're born and brought up in. Um, See, it might be very hard, but it is also adventurous to, start something new, to be that black sheep in the family, or I would call it a spiritual sheep rather. But uh, telling someone, especially the ones you really, really love, maybe not at that time when that is happening, but in a very calm, collected manner, when you have that space with them, sitting down with them and telling them, okay, this is who I am, this is how I work, this is how I operate. And I would really appreciate if you try to understand. I'm not saying that you change overnight, but, if you just start allowing this space to me, little by little, maybe we can have a better relationship, or maybe we can have a better access to each other, and I can trust you more with myself. And when you begin to communicate and not not put it slyly or in a very volcanic manner, then probably the other person begins to respect that thing. And as I said in the beginning of the session, that even if you have to repeat yourself over and over, do not apologize for it, do not feel embarrassed. We might have to do that over many times, but it is okay to do that. It is absolutely fine to do that. So as hard as it is, trying will lead you where you want to go. That is the only thing you can do. Like, communicating and keep trying as to create those boundaries, so that, you teach that to your surroundings as well. And practicing that yourself, because you're respecting that for the other person, other people will actually, respect that for you. I hope I answered your question, Pratiksha.
Yeah, and this is great, and thank you for that. I do see that this is a continuous process, and it's like no magic wand which can let
Correct.
you do that. But I do see, like, when you try that, I remember Pari talked about like claiming your power, and I feel like though I'm slyly putting my 8:30 boundary, I still feel like over the time I've started claiming my power, and no one, like, after 8:30, no, first 2 days everyone is like, it's just a meditation. Why are you, like, why do you have to go? Why don't you just enjoy with us? But now everyone is like, okay, 8:30, it's your time to go. So it's really a very empowering feeling. And thank you so much for all the advice here. I
Thank you,
pause.
Pratiksha.
Absolutely. I love the last point that Pratisha mentioned, that when you keep doing it consistently, people around you start seeing, and hey, you have this going on. When you are serious about it, people get serious about it. When you take it casually and don't give priority to yourself, what you have decided, what you have committed, nobody is going to give it. So wonderful point, Pratiksha. Yes. Yes, Radhika. Yeah, Sridhar.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, for both Ratika Master and Pari Master regarding this new concept. Actually, it is a basic fundamental we are involving in our life, but we have refreshed how to monitor and regulate, actually. And one thing I want to share, actually, what I experienced. Basically, I'm a civil engineer. In the concept of construction in India and Gulf, the construction remains the same, but in Gulf, same construction having its own boundary, like specification and targets, and you are constructing the home in the India and Gulf, same concept. But here the country's rules and regulations, they have really they have constructed their specific boundaries, like this only you have to construct like this. If you want to do same thing in India, it is not possible. So you have to respect their country rules and regulations. This is also one type of boundary. So in our life also we have to maintain the same situation, irrespective of the country, or irrespective of the another family or whatever. We have to respect our own boundaries and own strategy. We should not cross, or we should not question with others. What I understand. Is it correct?
Yes. Yes, and thank you for actually explaining it through that great example. So I think, as Pari rightly mentioned, what you said, I'm just adding on to that. Setting boundaries is the first gesture of self love, is the biggest step towards self love, because when we create boundaries, we are also telling ourselves that I am so important and I need this. And when I need something, I absolutely want to tell the other people very lovingly, very compassionately, that how I need to be treated, how I should be treated, and this is something I absolutely deserve. Wherein all those boundaries plus the no interference and being that authentic self comes into picture. So yeah, great sharing, Sridhar, and yes, you are absolutely correct. So thank you for
Yeah.
being here with us. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And can we have Araisai?
Hi guys, thank you for this session. It's very enlightening. I had question related to interference and the care that this miss talked about earlier. In my culture, it's been assumed that extending yourself in such a way is care. And there was lack of boundaries. Growing up, there was no boundaries at all. And that influenced my relationship with my significant other because it led to the energy drains because we basically had no boundaries. And it also brought about a lot of conflict. And the process of initiating the boundaries is what I was asking about. And also mending the conflict and abrasion that comes with the initial lack of boundaries and resolving the conflict that comes with. So how do you navigate that situation where boundaries are crossed and now you need to start respecting boundaries and mending conflict that arose from lack of boundaries initially? So how do you deal with that and establishing your own boundaries as an act of self-love?
Paridi, I would really want you to take this question. Wherein he's asking that, how to navigate through those boundaries wherein you're setting that self-love where, how to take it forward when you've not learned it since your childhood. You've never known what boundaries are. And then he might have experienced something with his partner as well, wherein the boundaries weren't set and then it did not went as he would want it to be. So when you're learning it, how to navigate it from there and, establish it as the art of the greatest art of self-love. I hope, Araisa, that I've actually said your question correctly, that this is exactly what you were asking. And I would want Pariti to take this because I want everyone to get her point of view on this particular thing.
Well, first of all, Arisi, is that right? Okay, Arisi, are you from Kenya?
Yes,
Okay, wonderful. Welcome to PSSM. And
Thank you.
Growing up, no boundaries. That's the case in most, like Pratiksha said today, that is the case in most of our lives, even from India. There are no boundaries there. And even if the child wants to set the boundary, the parent would be like, just do it. You're supposed to do it, or you're supposed to do that. Or if uncle comes, walks in, if the child, this is something that we all have to, if your child doesn't want to hug the relative, don't force the child and say that is bad not to hug the relative, you are being rude. That is wrong. Let the child be what the child wants to do. So this is something which is pretty common across. Now, as a grown-up, how do we set boundaries? How do we learn to have self-care? Self-care is not an activity or a thing that we do. It is not something that, okay, I have to, self-care is not a relaxation day or a spa day or a vacation day. Self-care is knowing, if you want to sleep, just sleep. If you want to read a book, just read a book. Being unapologetic about doing what you're doing. That is self-care. Saying no when you really mean. Saying yes when you mean it. That is self-care. Honoring your emotions is self-care. So the boundaries first begin with self-regulating our emotions. Understanding our emotions. We don't even know what we feel. We don't even know what we are supposed to feel or what we are having emotions when there are no boundaries. We are confused. Am I supposed to feel this way, or is it right? Maybe it is. I should not feel this way. I am so wrong. It's so bad. We don't, right, Marisol? Am I saying anything wrong? So Mexico, she's in Mexico. Mexico also same scenario. You don't know what you're feeling. You're confused. Is it wrong? Is it bad? I don't feel like talking to my mother right now, but is it bad that I'm feeling this way? I'm not supposed to feel this way. We start judging ourselves. based on the rules of the society. My husband and I fought. He is sitting in the other room and not happy with me. But I don't feel like being sad. I want to go watch a movie. Is it wrong? Should I be sitting in the room and also crying about it? Or should I just go? My friend called me for a movie. Should I just go and enjoy? What do I do? Should I feel guilty that I'm not sad? So these are all the situations that we feel. So how do we deal with that guilt and get over, like, is self-care selfish? So now think about it. Emotions are never wrong. Emotions are never bad. What you feel is you. No feeling is bad. If you feel you don't want to watch a movie or you want to watch a movie, go ahead without guilt. Because this is the thing, Arasi. You are not responsible for what others feel. You are not responsible for others' happiness, even if it is your wife's or your mother or your son. You are responsible for your own happiness. You cannot make anybody happy or you cannot make anybody sad. It is a choice. It is an internal choice. It is a choice you make to be happy. If my wife does this, if she cooks great food, I am happy. If she doesn't cook, I am unhappy. So we start making this rule book of where we are happy, where we are not happy. So you decided that, you made a choice that if you remove that, change that choice, okay, no matter what, whether the food is there or not, I am happy. Nobody can take my happiness away. If you make a decision today that you take your power back, you are in control again. And when you are happy, it is energy. When you are happy, that energy is contagious. Slowly in time, you will influence your relationships around you. Slowly in time, it won't happen overnight. Fear is also contagious. The more you're in fear, the more you're in stress, anxiety. Some relationships are like landmines. Like emotions are like landmines. You don't know where you step and how they will get hurt. You don't know what you will say and how they will get hurt. It is landmines. Stepping on landmines. That is not a healthy relationship. That you're always worried, okay, if I say this, she's going to be angry. If I say that, she's going to be angry. You're living in fear. And when you live in fear, anxiety, depression, all of that come out. With that, your energy is draining. You're not doing anything good to your family or to you. Fear is contagious, so is your happiness. When you're happy, that energy goes out. In time, the other person will also sense it. Who do you go to when you are in low mood? Do you call a friend who always complains, or do you call a friend who is just happy and has a good time no matter what? Think about that. Which friend would you call? You should be that friend you would call. When you are that friend, when you become that friend, people will come to you. People will want to be with you. So it is about first understanding your emotions and self-regulating them. I know in this, we did a little bit about self-regulation, but it is a whole thing, we
New
need
topic,
more
yes.
time for it, But it's a great question. I love your question. And it is something that most countries deal with. Even US deals with it, but they mask in the name of independence, and they don't know what they're feeling.
Correct.
So
Thank you.
thank you, Arisi, and meditate. The more you meditate, the more you increase your consciousness, your awareness, self-awareness.
Yes.
So you will identify your patterns much clearly than normally. Because right now, when we are in a pattern, we can't see it. That's why we go to a therapist or a psychologist or whoever, a counselor. But when you start meditating, you will start being aware of those patterns, and you can change them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you will also begin to communicate better once you start doing everything that Pari just mentioned. So thank you for your great question, Arisi. And we have Ashima now. Hi, Ashima. She already sent me the
Hello,
question in
hi.
personal chat. So yes,
Yeah.
Ashima, go about it, please.
Yeah, please, if you can answer that question.
Okay, so
Thank
her
you.
question is how to set boundaries with guests when you don't have energy and health to serve them and can't say no or ask them to help themselves as they are at your house and they are guests. Okay.
How to
Uh,
set boundaries with guests when you don't have energy and health to serve them and can't say no to them. Okay, that is the first problem. Or ask them to help themselves as they're already at your place and they are your guests. Okay.
this is
Anybody would like to answer this question? Shashi, you wanna answer this question? Oops. Sorry, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, Masters. Hello, everyone. And thank you very much for this great questions. I'm seriously enjoying this session, wonderful session. I know everyone has a different situations, maybe my answers is not going to match with another person's answers, but if yes, of course, everyone should have your boundaries, the same what Radhika said and Pariman said, because it's a self-respect. And if you respect yourself, it means you're respecting another person also. Everything start from within. So it's like if I hate myself, I don't like myself, can I give that love to another person? Seriously, I cannot, because I don't know what is love then, right? If I don't know boundaries, and or I can say, I don't know boundaries, I won't respect my health, so then how I'm going to respect the same thing and I'm going to feel that way for another person? So I will say in this situation, question is really tough, but yes, respectfully, I'm going to tell them my situation. I'm not healthy or I'm not feeling well. This is my situation right now, and I'm definitely going to support you, but please, you just take care of yourself in this situation. And I really love to help you, but this is the situation I cannot do. And I feel that generally, like if you go even yourself, put it that yourself in the same place, they will understand you. That means they will understand your situation, and they will say, okay, you know what, maybe some of them will be a little bit rude. They will feel like, oh, you are not doing good, or you are not being nice nice host. But I think you should put your right thought, your emotions, whatever you're feeling that time. This much I feel that way, like people can understand you when you are going to put your thought, honestly. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, Shashi Master from from Bay Area. Wonderful answer. Yes, I mean, she gave the whole gist about what we talked about today in just few sentences. Ashima, the problem here is not your guess. The problem is your belief systems. So there's a contradiction there in what you believe. You want to be authentic, but you also don't want to hurt others. You believe that when you are authentic, people will get hurt. So there are some contradicting belief systems that you hold, which is the problem. So once you resolve that, your guests will start behaving differently, because again, everything is mirroring in our life. The way we project is mirroring. So if you are having I want to be a great host. First belief system, you want to be called as a great host. You want to have a great clean house, okay, but you don't have strength to keep it clean or clean the bathrooms. And then the third belief is that I want to be authentic. Why can't I be myself before? Why should I put a mask? Okay, third belief system. So you have all of these belief systems in your brain which are contradicting, fighting with each other. No wonder you're facing what you're facing. No wonder. So to change that, first get your belief systems aligned to what you want to see, everything else will change around you. Let go of having the house clean. Let it go. It's okay. It's okay to have a dirty house. Okay, let go. Let go of all those things, and it's okay. There will be a time where you will have great parties. But right now is to focus on yourself. So let it go.
And I really, really agree with what Pari said just right now. Ashma, please unmute yourself. You can, if you want to speak something. One more thing I want to add is sometimes when you begin to believe that way, the other person will start understanding this, because I'm just seeing this example in real life right now where I'm in my hometown. My mom is not keeping too well, and my grandmother is pretty old, but she's still doing everything. I'm right here, I'm helping her, but when I'm not here, then they have to do everything, right? So when people are coming home to check in or to just, be here, they know that there are certain boundaries that they must create for themselves so that they do not trespass our boundaries, because they know what is happening in the house right now. And they have to be very conscious of the whole environment here. So sometimes when we begin to believe that, sometimes when we know what is happening, what is not happening, then things begin to fall in place. And yes, if you want to add something, please go ahead and do that.
I don't know. Maybe I just need to like segregate like concepts like Parimam said in my head, and I will have to be bold enough to say a clear no when it's a no, be it anyone coming.
Yeah. You say no when you truly are mean it. Like you have, if you say no with contradicting belief systems, the other person will take it as a hurt. Will,
Okay.
because again, you're not clear. There's confusion here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the need to have certain standards. And if that standard is not aligning with our situation now, change the standard, change your belief. You have the power to change. This is the concept of the book from Seth Speaks, Jane Roberts. You can change your beliefs to create what you want. Some beliefs are outdated, which doesn't match your reality. So you have to change them now. So if your experience is not matching what you want, then change them. You have the power. Okay. You don't have to be like, oh, I am not this person. You change every day. The whole world is changing every day. The earth is moving every day, every second. So it's okay. So just consider what is the belief systems, how do you replace them, and everything else will change. And here I have a question from Snehal. You just said about when you're always in fear of speaking to someone, if they will get hurt, how unhealthy relationship, how to deal in such cases where you don't want to hurt the other person because we love them, but you don't want to hurt the other person, because we love them, but at the same time we can't even tolerate to disrespect and take us for granted all the time. Okay, again, as I said, you are not responsible for other people's emotions. You're not. You are responsible for your happiness, your emotions. You are responsible to live authentically, clearly in your life. And if your action of something, and think about how the intention of why you're doing an action, is the action to hurt somebody, is it an action to prove some point, is it it is action coming from a place of competition? Where is that action coming from? The place itself. This is the point we talked about quite some time, all these days. So if an action of yours hurts others, then it's a discussion. You are not responsible. First thing is, stop taking responsibility. You don't want to do, because if you don't do it, it will change other person's behavior. That means you think that the other person don't have power or control over themselves. So we need to change that belief, and then of course at that point the standards and the respect, yes, you cannot take anybody for granted, because again, you cannot, if they don't know how to do it, you start modeling that behavior, you start projecting that behavior, eventually the other person will learn. And again, this is not an overnight process. It takes time to heal. Healing cannot be rushed. It takes 9 months for a baby to come out. It takes years for a seed to become a tree. Healing is a process. Healing cannot be rushed. So I did 21-day meditation. Everything is gonna change. No, it's gonna take its own time. So yeah. So Nandini, I would love to hear from you.
Hi, Paridi, hi, Radhika. Hello, everyone. Good to see new faces today. And it's a very important topic, which I um want to add something to it. Like, I really like what Paridi just mentioned. Sometimes we see and that, oh, this person is not respecting me, or not understanding me, so we start putting it all out there onto. It's very easily that we find faults or bad things in others, but we forget that everything is a reflection of our own energy. Like how Radhika was also saying that we are energetic beings. So if any moment you find fault in any other person, that is your alarm to sit back and see what is happening within you. And then the moment you will go inside, every relation is your specific, especially your very core relationships are your mirrors. You chose them because they will be your best reflection. So if they are reflecting something which is, or you're having fights, or you're having something which is too above your understanding in that moment, just sit with yourself, meditate, and see what's happening within you. What is that you are not taking care of? What boundary did you not set for your own self? Then you will be able to, that is what I am incorporating, and I'm finding it very, which, like, some relationships in my life, really made sense when I understood this, that they are not here to do something for themselves. They are, what I am experiencing is because I have to learn something out of it. So when we turn all the fingers that we point to others to inwards, we shift everything. So yeah, that's what. And again, that's very important message, that healing and all of these that you are learning here is a process. So patience and kind, and that's all.
Some
Thank you.
sun, water, and love is what we need to build
Yes.
this. So when you work on these things, you develop deep intimacy in relationships. There is a very strong connections that get built with this by being authentic. So so it is, because we have relationships, but how to build the deep intimacy in our lives, how to have that strong connection, the emotional connection. We can live in the same house, but does it mean that we are connected? No. We can sleep on the same bed, but does it mean we are connected? No. So it is, how do you build, is by healing this internal trauma, and changing our belief systems, and also boundaries. Yes, we don't want to hurt others. Look internally, we are saying this, but there's sometimes when there are narcissists around us, and it can be a mother, it can be a father, it can be a husband or a wife, it can be anybody. There are narcissistic mothers also and fathers also around us. So how do you, it is not my internal creation that my mother is a narcissist, or my husband is, or my uh, wife is a narcissist. Then it is a contract. It is now beyond, we are going into soul contracts. It is identifying that karmic cycle, the pattern, and ending that, having the courage to end that pattern is your lesson in this life. So you don't have, there is no internal reflection happening there. There is that uh, there you have to set boundaries, because now again, this self love comes into play. Deep self love, understanding, soul science comes into play. Understanding your karmic cycle, understanding your soul contracts, gives you that freedom, gives you that courage to live your authentic life and end all those toxic relationships around you. So that's probably, next time, Radhika, we should include that part also in healthy boundaries,
Yes.
about narcissistic relationships. And also we
Yes.
add another topic as ego, spiritual ego. What is
I
spiritual ego?
was I was planning to actually create an advanced version of this topic. So when we do the advanced science, maybe a 11-day advanced science, which we're already planning to have advanced classes for all the reinvent people. So I think in that I would want to add new bits to healthy boundaries, wherein we
Yeah,
go into the advanced topics of all of this.
exactly. Yeah, we will be doing advanced version. So if you want to dive deeper into each concept, we can get in there. So somebody raised hand. We are
I
going
think
to
it was Shabnam.
Shabnam.
Yes, if she is here, Shabnam, do you want to speak? We're like half an hour after time and 30 people are still with us. This is amazing. We're loving this. So I'm very
I know,
grateful.
but yeah, this is a topic that we all go through every day. And we look for answers in our tarot cards, in astrologers, in psychics, in mediums, but the answer is within us.
Correct.
So, well,
Uh,
okay.
Shabnam,
So,
if you would like to speak, you have all the space to speak. Okay. We are asking you to unmute. Can you unmute now?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've been doing these sessions very regularly. I did 40 days earlier on, and this one, and then last year, and then the last year. So, yeah, always very happy to be in this energy. But today I thought there is an incident which I would like to share with everybody from my own life's example. I remember my daughter was 3 years old, 3 days old. I had just come back from the hospital after giving birth. She was 3 days old, and my mom-in-law had called her sister to help make this panjiri thing for me after giving birth. So something had happened that day, which actually made me change the entire outlook towards things. My mom-in-law's sister went to each and every room, and then she came out and she laughed. She said she hasn't even folded clothes. There is a pile of clothes unfolded on the bed. That was one point which hurt me so much that, I mean, I felt that literally there was no respect for a person who had who was all alone during the pregnancy and then has just come back from hospital after giving birth, and still somebody actually can do this. That was so hurtful. So that was the day I actually set my priorities right. I didn't say anything, but I knew, because I've been so silent in all these years, people have learned to walk all over me. So it's been 14 years now that Masi hasn't come back to the house. Not that I ever fought with her, not that I ever said anything to her, but I got courageous enough to give that message, send that message out that some things are really not respectful and welcomed. So I think as much as it's difficult to set these boundaries, they are really so important, because if as a mom I had not done that thing that day, I'm sure my kids would be also affected, which had happened earlier on with my son. Yeah. So, ladies, it's possible for those who are wondering that, how do we do this? How do we keep that respect as well as we let them know this is not welcome? It's difficult, but it is possible. And a lot of questioning and statements and comments will come your way, but it will be worth living that life with your boundaries. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow.
Wonderful sharing, Shabnam. Where are you from, Shabnam?
Pari, I'm from Singapore.
Oh, you're from Singapore. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. I've been in these sessions throughout since 2020, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Shabnam keeps connecting with me, and thank you, Shabnam, for speaking up. This is the first time she's speaking up openly, and what a first show! Such a beautiful conclusion to the whole session. So thank you for speaking up, Shabnam. That was really, really nice.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry my camera is not turning on because of some settings on the phone. I would
It's
have loved to turn on the camera. Yeah, uh, there are many beautiful incidents and experiences I have experienced during the meditations, which maybe someday I would also like to share, which is
Yes.
definitely from some other dimension and very beautiful.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, my thanks to all of you for doing this great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabnam. And before we end this session, I want to hear on this topic from our master, Marisol, on boundaries. Please share your message today.
I don't know, but the only thing that I want to say that yes, we have to be honest, and we need just self-love, because maybe we have a lot of situations around us, but you decide if you be a victim or if you want to be sad or angry, because inside of me I have anger, but no like before. So now I can control that. So I know that if I drink alcohol or if I go to a party with my friends, so maybe something will be ground. And now I can understand that I can be a person that all the time have to run away for all of these kinds of situations I have to take. I'm in this process, just step by step. Sometimes I don't understand and I don't understand how I feel, but I'm trying to do that. So the only message that I want to tell you is that you are your safe place, because Marisol have a lot of, maybe in India is my safe place, and but Marisol is her safe place. I don't have other. If I say, "Oh, Marisol, why you do this? Why you do this?" Marisol, oh my God, Marisol again? Why Marisol is that again? And this kind of things. Oh my God, Marisol is the same enemy. So please be honest, be kind with yourself, love. Um, Self-love is the first step. And I think that boundaries are very, very important in every situation. So just step by step. Don't be like, oh, I can do this because this is my situation. I'm just be patient with that, because sometimes I was like, oh, this is too much for me. But I think that it's just step by step. And that's all that I want to say now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marisol. Okay. Radhika, you want to end?
Yeah, I just want to say that I manifested Nandini raising her hand and you calling Marisol, because I really wanted both of them to speak today in the session after you shared. And then suddenly people were raising hand, and I had the time was less, so I did not know if both of them can share, and they both spoke. So my heart is full now, because both with Nandi, and because Nandi and I have been friends for the longest time, and Marisol, I had the opportunity to spend time with her last year in December. So they're both very close to my heart, and I've really seen them create those boundaries, and I've learned so much from these two people. They are like my greatest teachers, along with Pari. So all the three people that I wanted to speak, they spoke, they shared so beautifully. So I think my whole purpose of taking this topic has been completed with all the people I really look up to. That is Paridi, Nandini, Marisol, and everyone else who spoke today. I learned so much from everyone, apart from what I could share about the healthy boundaries. So I want to keep improvising on this topic as well. So yeah, that's and I'm really grateful for all the people who came up, who asked questions, and who spoke up today. I think it was very important because we all learn from each other. So thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. We'll meet again tomorrow. Tomorrow, the topic is about chakras. We're going to dive into the introduction to chakras. So join us tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m. With meditation followed by the topic. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.